Ladies and gentle gamers, welcome back to Be Determined. Today we finally got some more info on the Foraging update as well as some other updates, including better mayors and Glacite Tunnels 2.0, so there will be another update to the Glacite Tunnels in the future. But if you guys want to see me make a video on what is currently on the Alpha Network as well, smash the like button, smash the sub button, and let's jump into it. Alright, before we jump into this too much, I just want to say I got a new camera, and I'd like to use it today, so we're going to. But I will put this thread into the link in the description, so if it's not there when this video goes up, make sure to remind me. I'm very forgetful, I'm not going to lie. But this was uploaded by the Hypixel team, and it's a quick design thread on the Foraging Island. They do talk about a lot more in here, but let's jump into it. So we first have a picture with shaders of the Foraging Island, which is pretty cool. I mean, this looks sick. This just looks amazing. I'm very excited. And apparently, there's going to be some water parts of this island as well, so we'll get into that in a moment. But they said, first off, this is not a delay announcement, which is a very big deal. I'm very, very glad they're not delaying it any further. They're making steady progress and are excited about what's taking shape. They have started internal group testing and are planning on a second batch of them within the next few weeks. But trees are the heart of foraging, of course, and the way that trees will work in this area, which is called Glacite, by the way, but the trees will offer players rewards once fully taken down. Just contributing 10% of the trees cutting will result in receiving a tree gift. So playing as a group is going to be a big part of this, which I really like what they did with the Glacite update, where you play as a group and it's a lot better than playing it solo. So it looks like it's going to be the same thing for foraging, which is pretty cool. But sweep and toughness. So the tree capitator introduced a new mechanic that allows you to sweep 35 logs in a row. They intend to make this mechanic a core part of the item progression. So it looks like the tree cap is going to be like the base item, and then you'll upgrade that and get more sweep power as you go along. But trees on Glacite have increased toughness, meaning 35 sweep won't actually cut 35 logs. You'll need much more to efficiently cut the last few trees in the progression. Each tree on Glacite has its unique cutting style, adding a layer of skill to the process. The first style, that of the fig tree, is simple. You have to cut the branches of the tree first and then cut the trunk. So if you cut the trunk first, you only sweep half of the logs you should have as a penalty. And apparently there's going to be axe throwing in this as well. So instead of like having to jump up and swing at things, you can just throw your axe at it, which is pretty nice. Axes with sweep will have an axe throwing ability, allowing them to target logs from a distance. Throwing your axe will only sweep half of the logs, so only use it when necessary. So it'll just be kind of a last resort thing. But the heart of the forest is their plan for the progression system. So we already have Heart of the Mountain, with mining. So it's going to be very similar for foraging, which is pretty cool. There's Starland Sisters. These three sisters are similar to Jacob, except their concours don't put you against other players. Instead, it's all about your own performance. So they will be always ongoing, giving rewards every in-game day. So looks like we'll be getting some nice boosts to foraging every single day. So like everyday Jacob's contests, but you're against yourself. So it's not going to be about doing a certain amount of against other players. It's just going to be getting a certain amount for yourself, I guess. But apparently mobs will have a mystic shield, so you won't be able to damage them before their shield is down, and only items with mystic damage will damage these shields. So you won't be able to just go around hype spamming. You have to use some new items to damage the shields, and then you can start hype spamming, I'm guessing. So it's going to be pretty interesting on that front. But across all three of the islands on Glacite, you'll find different types of berries that can be collected to craft hunting items, which we'll get into that later. Basically, there's going to be a new skill, which is pretty cool. But also there's pressure. While we never worked on the Abyssal Island, we still decided to make a pressure system and introduce it on Glacite. Pressure will simply make your respiration bubbles go down faster the deeper you dive into the waters. Running out of air while in deep waters will deal massive damage, so make sure you stack up extra respiration and pressure resistance before you venture yourself into the deeper rooms of the lake. And this room, by the way, does it remind you of anything? Because I see 3 eggs right here, and this looks like a dragon. So I think we're going to have a new type of G-Drag pet, like equivalent. Maybe it's just for foraging, but some kind of dragon. Maybe it's like, I don't know, a guardian dragon pet or something. But it looks like we're getting a new dragon pet, which is pretty cool. I'm curious how expensive they're going to make it compared to the G-Drag, and if it's going to be just useful for like mining or fishing or foraging. but I guess we'll find out. But you can see they're using the new blocks from 1.19 or 1.20 to make everything look amazing. They've got the stalactites and things here, which is pretty cool. And you can see they've got some terracotta down here as well. So they're definitely making the most use out of these. They've got, I think that's mud blocks right here. So they're using the new blocks very, very well. And apparently there's going to be god temples now. So gods used to exist in the world of Hypixel SkyBlock. The SkyBlock gods are canon now, but they were dethroned by an ancient civilization. God temples can still be found in the world, and reactivating them will allow you to become a worshiper. The very first god temples will be introduced on Glacite. Those grant global stat buffs to everyone who unlocks them and extra buffs to their worshippers. The more worshippers a temple has, the stronger the god becomes. So it seems like it's going to be a different type of mayor system, kind of. So you're like, all right, which temple do I want to go to today to get these perks? So I'm going to do foraging. So I'll go to this god temple and do those perks. And today I feel like doing some of the abyssal style stuff that they've got going on. I'll go to this god and get the water perks, you know, something like that is probably they'll head with that. But this is the big deal as well. I mean, everything in here is pretty awesome, but we now have hunting. I won't dive into this subject on this thread as it should have its own thread, but I can already explain a few more important points. Foraging went through multiple design iterations across the months and years, and the game is very different now than it was back when the project started. The mentality was always to make this island as lively as possible, a goal that in hindsight was overly ambitious. Hypixel does have a pattern of being overly ambitious, which is good and bad, but I think it'll be worth the wait once this island comes out. Anyways, vision became a significant bottleneck in the design process. We still want the island to be lively. Our ambition had to be reset multiple times over, and during conversations a few months ago, we found a solution we instantly enjoyed. Hunting will be a new skill and will be available on a ton of creatures across the game, many mobs that already exist. So I'm guessing it's going to be on animal creatures, so you won't be doing hunting on like zombies and skeletons and stuff, but maybe spins will be changed by this, and hunting wolves, hunting spiders maybe even, who knows. But we're getting a new skill, which is pretty exciting. The foraging update has made a considerable amount of progress in the last few months, and we're getting close to the alpha release. There's no need to sugarcoat it. This update already took too long, and we are able to learn from our own mistakes. Our mentality when it comes to SkyBlock updates evolved a lot through the years. This alone could be the subject of a thread. We are eager to hear your thoughts on this new format and what topics you'd like to see discussed in future threads. So this is huge. We're getting a new skill. We're getting what looks like a new G-Drag style pet, and it's in 1.20, which has been talked about a lot, but that's pretty epic. We're getting Heart of the Forest, which is similar to Heart of the Mountain. The axe throwing system seems pretty cool. And by the way, I didn't really focus on this earlier, but this is the Fig Stone Axe, which looks like it's an upgrade of the Tricapitator. It gives Foraging Fortune, Sweep, and Mystic damage. So it gains 1 extra sweep every 10,000 logs cut in Glacia with a maximum of 20. So maybe it's not an upgrade of the Tricapitator, because I think they said Tricap has 35 and this only has 24. So this is probably just like an entry level thing. But maybe Tricap is going to get some Mystic damage added onto it as well. But this part looks pretty sick. I'm very excited. Again, hopefully this will be on alpha within a month. I would really, really hope for that, but we'll see. But again, at the start, they said they've got the next testing session in a couple weeks. So it could very well be another 2 months before this makes its way onto the alpha, depending on that testing session. It could be longer. But I mean, we've waited ever how many years at this point? We can wait a little longer, right? But that is not the only set of patch notes that we got. So again, we had the Glacite patch notes. I didn't really go over these in the video because, you know, I'd already gone over the majority of things, so we're not really going to focus on that except for this part at the bottom, which is future plans. So the Glacite tunnels part 2. With the Glacite tunnels having been out first array into instance content for mining, we have lots of ideas for content we'd like to add to further fill out those tunnels. Part 2 of the update is currently in the design phase and will deliver new content in the form of NPCs, events with mine shafts, new collection and Heart of the Mountain related items, and maybe even some Glacite themed fishing content. As part of this follow-up, we would also like to take some time to streamline the overall progression within the mining skill by making some key changes to recipes, outdated mechanics such as heat and forage items. Our goals with these changes is to put mining as a skill in a stable position so that we can leave it for a prolonged period of time in order to focus on lesser developed skills. I do think this is probably gonna be a while before this comes out. Hopefully they're focusing more on foraging update right now, but Glacite themed fishing, I mean, with the penguin pet, we could probably have predicted this. But mineshaft events seems pretty cool. and some new Heart of the Mountain items seems like it'll be nice as well. Which I think the big deal with this will be also with the Pendant of Devon. Not only does the Pendant of Devon become the first equipment piece in the game to boast gemstone slots, but it also has a full set bonus that grants pristine, blah blah blah. The other 3 pieces of this equipment set will hopefully make their way into the game in the distant future, so I'm sure that will probably all come out at the same time. Glacite 2.0 plus all of the rest of this set will probably all come out at the same time, and they said it's in the distant future, so I don't think they're focusing on this right now. They said it is in the design phase again, so they're not coding it, they're just designing it, and then they'll start coding it, and then they'll start testing it, and then it'll come on alpha, and then it'll come to the game. So it's a long ways away, probably another year at the very least, maybe 2. We can now talk about Better Mayors. So Better Mayors features new perks, perk revamps, and a brand new minister system. The main idea of this update is to make all mayors an attractive option to vote for. Mayors have come second in voting to non-special mayor candidates will be elected as minister and have one of their mayor perks active in conjunction with the active mayor. The update is scheduled to hit alpha soon for balancing and bug testing, so keep an eye out for that. More info will be available when the update goes on alpha. So there is currently a different update on alpha with, I believe it's called Hoppity or something, but it's basically Cookie Clicker 3.0. So if y'all want to see a video on that, smash the like button. Hopefully this will come out soon after that. But now I can talk about Dragon Rush and Primal Dragons. You've seen this update more than a month ago, and it hasn't been brought up since. Our development efforts have been directed towards completing the tunnels, and they caused a delay in progressing with this project. The tunnel's now released. We can prioritize returning to this and releasing it back on the alpha in the coming weeks to gather further feedback and bug test. One thing to note is that we have nerfed the set bonus for Primal Dragon armor, which is good. That set was broken, but hopefully it's not, completely nerfed into the ground. Hopefully it's still useful for some things, just not the best at literally everything in the game. But exact changes will be revealed in the next alpha session, so I don't know if this is like literally the next alpha session that they do will be this, or if it'll be mayors. Whichever one we get next, I'm sure it'll be good, but we've got a lot to look forward to on the alpha in the next couple months. And then, yeah, they linked the design thread for Foraging. So that's everything that we have right now, which it is a lot of information, but I'm kind of happy with that. We've got so many updates to look forward to. Again, we haven't seen anything on like Rift 2.0, but I mean, that could be years away. They may not even be designing that yet, realistically. I'm sure they're not really sure what to do with that since Minikloon left, but they'll figure out something. Anyways, we've got a lot to look forward to. I'm excited for the future, and I hope you guys are as well. Make sure to leave a comment. Let me know which one you're most excited for. And I may have to do a video on theories on what could be coming out with all this stuff. So if you guys want to see that, make sure to leave some suggestions for what I could go over in that video. But y'all have an amazing rest of your day. I'll catch you in the next one. God bless.